Order! What is the meaning of this? It's very simple, Your Honor. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime. But the locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When a door is shut, a sensor is triggered. And the locker is automatically locked? Oh, I know, it must have broken down. Of course, I'm not an expert in this. That's not likely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction. Oh wow, it just goes to show novices should keep their mouths shut. Yeah, that's right. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation? Me, Your Honor. Yes, why wasn't the locker locked? Me, Your Honor? ... Yes, well, you see, this isn't exactly my field. What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator? Huh? Oh, maybe something like jam the system sensor. Something jam the sensor? Say. There's something else that seems out of place in this video. Yeah, I thought so too. There's got to be another clue somewhere in this footage. Very well, let's inspect the video once more. The locker wasn't locked, Mr. Wright. Please point out the cause for this. Oh, real? I didn't notice this one. Paint. The locker wasn't locked. Please point out the cause for this. Is it the blue badger? Wait, is it the paper? The glove? Please watch closely. This is the continuation of the part I showed you earlier. The glove jammed the... I mean, I don't think that would... I mean, sure, okay. What's this? Something white fell out of the locker. But sir, it's been my experience that when things fall out when doors are opened... Wait, it's been my experience that things fall out when doors are opened. That's not... I often fall out and roll great distances when I open my car door, sir. We can't be sure that item was completely inside the locker to begin with. What do you mean? The sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door? Inserted? This is so slow. This white thing wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor. Oh, I understand now, sir. It's just like my tie. 2 out of 3 times it gets stuck in the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle, sir. Instead of the door closing, my tie chokes me. But the object would have to be extremely thin to fit in the door. Not only that, it would also have to block electrical currents. It would need to be an insulator. Yes, an insulator, but at the crime scene. There just might have been something that fits the description. But sir, by insulator you don't mean... I think I have finally got this figured out. Do I? Sure I do. Very well, would the defense please present the relevant evidence? What was this insulator that was stuck in the locker door? I found this near the locker, a thin rubber glove. But we can't be sure that was in the victim's locker. It has a tag that says SL9 incident. Exclamation! The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker. But that isn't the case. The lit lamp attests to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is this not so, Mr. Officer Meekins? Sir, it would appear so, sir. Order! So are we to believe then that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman? He didn't stab him. Was not Detective Goodman. Don't be misled, Your Honor. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? The defense has merely demonstrated that possibility and nothing more. The victim in the video was indeed Bruce Goodsman. No, it wasn't. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. Nani? Officer Meekins, please testify about this. Sir, me sir. I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh, you mean that, sir? Of course, sir. Is this a joke? Yeah, it's a joke. You're the joke. Very well, begin your testimony. Mystery Man 2. There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there is a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. Unless someone else took his card. An ID card record, I see. I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor. Wait, don't I have it? I have it. The ID used at 5:14 is that of the victim. Just before the crime. Yes, without a doubt this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why were there so few people using this room? This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff. Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. It's not standing on end. Your hair is normal. Me too, although it doesn't make much of a difference. Yes, Phoenix, thank you. There were only a few cases for transfer there, and most were cleared up by noon. Right, I see. Now let's move on to the cross-examination. Mystery Man number 2! There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. Is that card hanging from your neck one of those ID cards? Yes, sir. This card right next to my cuff, sir. I keep it here so I won't ever forget it. But what if someone were to steal it from you, keeping it out in the open like that? Dot dot dot. Maybe I shouldn't wear it around my neck. Remember when I said 2 out of 3 times my tie gets stuck when I get out of my car? Well, the remaining time it's my ID card that gets stuck. Instead of the door closing, my ID card chokes me. Maybe I should just leave this one alone. At any rate, each police officer has only one ID card. Both the police department and the prosecutor's office can attest to this. Please proceed with your testimony. When an ID card is used, there is a record of it. Can it be falsified? Let it be noted that this is the record the witness referred to. Let me see. Yes, that would be it. Detective Goodman. What is the matter? According to this, Mr. Edgeworth, your name is on here. So it is, Your Honor. Not that prosecutor again. Maybe he's behind all this. Being a prosecutor, he could hide the evidence. Mommy, is that man in blue a murderer? Just don't stare at him. You've got the wrong color. It would seem the inquiry committee will want to speak with you again today. I have nothing to be ashamed of regarding my actions or their consequences. For now, let us continue with the cross-examination. Poor Mr. Edgeworth, it must be so difficult for him. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. Earlier, I believe you testified that when you asked the man to show his ID card, he pulled a knife on you. Yes, sir, he didn't show me any ID card, sir. Don't you think that's odd? I mean, if he had his ID card, all he had to do was show it to you. There wouldn't be any reason to draw a knife. Huh. Maybe he just panicked. Everything stems from contradictions. Let's point them out. Mr. Wright, what do you think? I'm confused. What? The problem with this ID card testimony is far too obvious. It's not like Edgeworth to miss something like this. You're thinking too hard about it. Come on, let's show them what we've got. Alright, let me like save. Because again, I don't trust the game. So the obvious answer is... anyone can use the ID card. They just need to have it. Wait one moment, Officer Meekins. I'm not good at waiting, sir. I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene. That makes sense. When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card. A lost item report. It's only half completed, but it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess. You believe this something to be his ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there is a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card. Order! So now, what does this all mean? It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card. This is so obvious. Fake drama. Does the prosecution have a response? I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo! Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are 2 grounds to support this. 3 actually. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yes. What's he up to? That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murder in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder. That is... well, I guess that's right. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't going to end well. No, this is fine. Well, well. It seems you've finally realized exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove. Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth. The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means a murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime. So the real crime could only take place at one location, the underground parking lot. At the prosecutor's office, the murderer being Miss Lana Sky, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. No, it's not. A trustworthy witness... she's not trustworthy. She's completely untrustworthy. We just proved that she committed perjury yesterday. Unbelievable. Observe the moment the defense used the murder weapon. No, she didn't. Ah! I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning. The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered? And where did this person disappear to? However, this trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman. Just so, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, you have to do something or else Lana! What do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess? Object! One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. $5:15. Do we have to watch the whole thing? However, it cannot be said that it is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. If this court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared? I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witness for this incident. This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Mr. Wright, do you mean? Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness. Oh, whom do you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Very well then, Mr. Wright, this person whom you would have to testify, what is his or her name? He wants a Texas Ranger, right? Thinks he's a cowboy. he thinks he's a cowboy. Officer Jake Marshall. Why him? I can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He is in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare. Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time? We will, Your Honor. Court is now in recess. February 24, 11:32 AM, District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? You know what? That was better than previously. Maybe this is getting better over time. I don't know why they would make the first part so bad though. But that particular sequence was perfectly fine. There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Ah, what do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you figured everything out. What are you saying, Lana? What are you saying? Are you saying you know what's going on? I haven't figured anything out. Lana, you're the one who knows everything. Emma, you always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? No. Don't you trust me? No. No, you're kind of unscientific. I don't trust you. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Sure, you're not. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Smooth gumshoe. Good one, Dick. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Sorry, detective. You better be, pal. Hey, hey, hey! I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor's guy. It's okay, so have you brought what I asked? Oh. Oh. You mean this, right? My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name? Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy. The SL9 incident? But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them. If we have 30 minutes to read all of that. I can't believe you, the chief prosecutor, were a witness in that case. Miss Sky was a witness. SL9 incident files received from Lana Sky. Files for the Joe Dark killings solved 2 years ago. Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murderers. Oh what? Now that I've brought you your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me? Emma, but why? Why is your name in here? Nani? My name is there, I don't know, unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, this SL9 incident, is that... That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as... the Joe Dark killings. The Joe Dark! No, no Lana! That's over with, no! Emma, wait, she ran away. Everyone's way too dramatic. Oh, you know what? I just remembered. I gotta be somewhere. Alright, bye. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here. Jake Marshall, Angel Star, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't be just a coincidence. Knowing you, you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. I better take a good look at this file. Wait, I haven't looked at it yet. Alright, I guess we're gonna pause here. Alright, see you next time.